With the year finally coming to a close, I think it's about that time that we do our top 10 of 2023. With that said, I have a few rules. I try to stay away from early access as much as I can. I haven't played every single game out there. I'm just a simple man working a 40-hour work week and trying to play some games in between. I only have so much money and so much time. So with those things just mentioned, and it's just my opinion, let's get right into the list. Coming in at number 10 is Wild Frost. It's a card building roguelike game. You get to pick like a certain tribe from a leader. They're all kind of randomized. And it's interesting because you have to utilize 2 different lanes. Each card gets different effects, obviously. But it's just a visually nice thing. There's not too much in terms of like unlockables. But I know the replayability is there. I still haven't even beaten the final boss. But I do know it gets even nuttier once you do that. All in all, it was a nice package. I enjoyed my time with it, so I have no complaints putting that at number 10 for the year. Number 9 has to be Vampire Survivor. This thing is the most brain rot game I've got to enjoy all year. It's simply just auto attack and walk around. The amount of unlockables and secrets in the game for $5 is actually insane. They also just did like a collaboration with Among Us, which was a little weird, but if you're looking to just turn your brain off and have like that like gambling look to it, or those feelings you get when gambling, I guess, Vampire Survivor should be right up your alley, and I would recommend it. $5 for tons and tons of hours of gameplay is nothing to scoff at. Coming in at number 8, I got Fire Emblem Engage, and I know a lot of people are gonna get pretty mad that I did this because I technically never beat the Fire Emblem game, but my time spent with it was extremely in depth. It was enjoyable to every degree. Putting the engage rings on certain characters and just trying to get this perfect build while you're unlocking all these different units, it's visually nice. The story, you know, it's pretty whatever, but it's just great. It's just a great time all around, and I'm not even the biggest strategy fan out there. I'll probably try to finish it, I promise. Number 7 is a cute little penguin game that you can play with a friend. It's called Bread and Fred. This is essentially like Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy, but you're attached to a friend with a rope, and it was just as stressful as it was fun playing with my buddy Random. And if you have someone you can play with, it's even better. But they also have a single player content where you're a dude named, I think, Greg, and you use a rock. It's stressful, but you kind of signed up for it, and it's just adorable all the way through. Has to be number 7. Coming in at number 6 is Street Fighter 6. Never have I been a huge fan of the Street Fighter series. I'm more into the anime fighters or all that. I do enjoy fighting games a whole lot, but Street Fighter 6 had just an amazing package between World Tour, which had an expansive story mode, and you get to meet everybody, get like them as your mentor, and just fantastic online netcode with some great gameplay. Visuals were nice. There's almost zero complaints I have about the whole game in itself. And if you're looking to get into a fighting game right now, I would definitely recommend Street Fighter 6. Coming in at number 5, I want to put my time at Sandrock. Normally I'm not a big simulation game or a very like cozy gamer, I guess is how you would describe me. But my life at Sandrock, it's just great. It's very relaxing. There's a lot to do. They have some combat things where you can go in dungeons and you know use swords and daggers to get materials, or you could just stay back at the base and operate like mining equipment, collect water, talk to the villagers. You know, you can't really hype up a very chill, relaxing game, but if you're a big Stardew fan or even like Disney Dreamlight, I would definitely recommend this because it also has a multiplayer online with a whole separate story mode, and you guys can create your own town together. And all in all, it just came out of early access. It's still adding some stuff. And yeah, surprisingly, I'm putting it this high on the list. Coming in at number 4, it would be a literal crime if I don't put this on the list because I went and bought a PS5 just so I could play this thing. It's SpiderMan II. SpiderMan II obviously is the sequel to Spider-Man 1 and Miles Morales. Just enhances everything. As a standalone game, it's incredibly fantastic, but when you start comparing them to the others and just seeing the quality of life, it's hard to also not see the same combat at certain points or just even the same city. You're still stuck in New York. But the costume unlocks, the graphics, the story, it's still a extremely solid game that I enjoyed for the majority of my playtime, but there were some flaws that stopped me from putting it anywhere in the top 3. But still, Spider-Man 2, great game. Coming in at number 3 is another sequel that I got. It's going to be Tears of the Kingdom, another sequel that expanded upon the first, adding crafting, letting you go into the sky and all the way underground. It added a bunch of layers to the game that were definitely needed, but when you're on the ground level, it's hard to see the differences at points. The only differences you're really seeing is you can go down or you can look up and see those. Still, it's a Legend of Zelda game. The formula seems extremely tight. The combat's still fun. The mix matching of the weapons and being able to craft like goblin gliders or like, I don't know, literal death beams, that added a much needed refresher to the whole game. And yeah, I mean, I didn't 100% that game. There's no way you're catching me get all those Koroks to their partners and finding every single little poop seed out there. But I'm just glad Zelda got another game, and it deserves top 3 in my opinion. Coming in at number 2, I'm going to give it to Remnant II. I went into this game, someone on my chat gifted it to me, and I hated the first hour because I just didn't understand it. But once the gameplay loop clicked and I actually saw that it's all randomly generated biomes and the gear system that's within it, the class system and all the secrets, I'm a sucker for secrets, man. It just made me fall in love with it. The story is okay. There's different biomes that have different storylines, but when it comes to the actual gameplay loop where you're just finding the bosses, killing them, trying to get their gear, upgrading your weapons, and trying to find every nook and cranny with the rings, because there's things you're gonna find by wearing specific gear sets or specific ring sets, and you're gonna do like quests a certain way. The replayability of Remnant 2 is phenomenal, and it's also co-op, which is even better because now you get to experience this fantastic game with a friend. And they just dropped in a DLC that added another class, more rings, and even more secrets, and they have plenty more on the way. Yeah, it's hard not to put Remnant 2 in the top 3, and it's getting number 2 for that exact reason. Now, before we get into the number 1, I have a few honorable mentions. Those are going to be very quickly. Crab Champions, this would have been on the list, but technically it's still in early access, and I want to stay away from that. Bokura, it's a weird co-op puzzle game where you both experience different realities. That was an experience to have that, and it's like $5. Party Animals, I don't need to explain too much about that. That's just goofy fun. Checkmate Showdown, I got to meet the devs who made this. It's just chess meets a fighting game, so if you're bad at chess and you're good at fighting, you could possibly win, or vice versa. For the King 2 is just a tactical RPG board game. Chained Echoes technically came out in 2022. It was at like December 8th or something, and I need to. I love that game so much. I didn't make a video last year, and I just need to mention Chained Echoes, please. It deserves its spotlight. Along with Endless Dungeon and Sea of Stars. I didn't finish Sea of Stars, so I didn't feel right putting it on the list. And with all that said, let's get into number 1. Coming in at number 1, I want to give the massive credit where credit is due to Lies of P. This game blew me out of the water. I went into this thing on Xbox Game Pass, like not even caring, my hopes were low. I just wanted something to play, and it just absorbed me in every capacity. The story itself was fantastic. The end credit especially. The combat was amazing. The customization system of like different arms that you could equip to Pinocchio, different hilts that you can combine with different blades to make the character really yours. The boss fights were incredible. The pacing seemed just perfect. It never felt like it was being drawn out. And it just probably the best Souls-like I've ever played. And I've played Elden Ring and I've played the Dark Souls. Yeah, Lies of P, if you're a big Souls fan, you need to try this game. I would never have thought I would have put this even in my top 10, but here it is taking number 1. It's definitely my game of the year. And yeah, give Lies of P a shot, guys, please. And with all that said, those are my top 10 games of 2023. I just want to say thank you for the amazing year 2023 it's been. Streaming side, YouTube side, just all around, you guys have been nothing but fantastic to me. And I hope you guys had a great year too. With all that, here's to an even better 2024. Thank you so much for everything, and Happy New Year, and have a great one. Peace.